We may not know what day Jesus is going to come back, but we know how he's going to come back. Before we can discuss how he's going to come back, let's discuss how he's not going to come back first. In Matthew chapter 24, 24 through 26, it says,
For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, Look, he's in the desert, do not go out, or Look, he's in the inner room, do not believe it.
Okay, basically what Yahshua is saying in verse 24, that he's saying there's going to be false prophets and false teachers that's going to show great signs. And verse 25 says, he's basically telling us beforehand. And in verse 26, he's basically saying like, hey, people want to say, we found a Messiah at this place, or over here, over there. He's basically telling us, hey, if people are saying that, do not believe them. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 27, Yahshua, Jesus says,
For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be.
Now basically what he's saying, when a lightning comes to the east and to the west, he's basically saying how lightning is visible to a lot of people. So when he comes back, it's going to be visible to everybody. In Acts chapter 1, verse 9 through 11, it says,
Now when he had spoken these things, while they watched, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfast towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, who said, Man of Galilee, why do you stand gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus who was taken up from you in heaven will so come in like manner as you saw him go into heaven.
So basically, his disciples saw him go up to heaven on a cloud. And his angels is basically saying, hey, the same way you saw him go up into heaven on a cloud is going to be the same way he's going to come back. Now, isn't any Bible scripture that supports what his angels said? In Matthew chapter 24, verse 30 to 31, it says,
Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Now that scripture basically confirmed what the angel said to his disciples, but let's break down 30 and 31 a little bit more. Now in modern times, we usually identify different groups of people through their culture and nationalities. Now in biblical times, it was 3 different ways to identify different groups of people. From their tribe, where they came from, if they were a Hamite, Shemite, or Japhite, or if they were God's chosen people, and everyone else, basically Jew or Gentile. But to put it into easier and modern terms, who they call black people, who they call white people, Hispanics, Muslims, whatever nationality that he or she is, everybody is going to mourn at the sign of his coming. Also in verse 31, you will hear a great sound of a trumpet. It ain't going to be little. Everybody that's alive during that time is going to hear it. And of course, when the scripture says gather his elect from the 4 winds to heaven, that's basically saying he's going to gather his chosen people, whether they're Jew or Gentile, to him, and pretty much separate them from all the evil and the second judgment. Basically, to sum things up, if someone claims in the future that they're the Messiah and it do not align with scripture, do not believe that person. Either he's a false prophet, false teacher, or the worse, the Antichrist. And of course, with all this technology and things like that, it's easy for people to get deceived. Matter of fact, in that same chapter in Matthew 24, people are going to be deceived. And there's also many Bible scriptures that supports that as well. And me, it's important to know how he's going to come back instead of what time, because even if we did know what day he's coming back, what's the point if we don't know how he's going to come back? So many people focus on what time he's going to come back, but he never even told us. So there's no point. But I really do hope somebody got something out of this. And I hope all who watch this have a blessed day.